Scribal Sessions Volume 1. For the record. Open your eye in alignment with time and you'll see the truth like it's a physical thing. From the darkness I arise, so it's not a surprise when you learn of the light that I bring. As above, so below, I find a rhythm and flow as I grow with the pendulum swing. This is the matrix where everyone's faking they sleep here in life while we wake up in dreams. Shedding the skin like a serpent, this work makes it worse at attaining a purpose. While searching internal, examine what all is in me. Most will not make it there, so can I take it? Reality shaking, you've seen what I've seen. Reap what you sow, we're the weavers of speech, achievers, and this is the read 'em and weed 'em. You cannot read in vibrations that none of them speak. Walking mad, do netter, light is feather is heavy. To learn that your will isn't free, that you're willing. I continue to lead with my ebas, I'm sweeping my conscience clean. Training in realms that are unseen, my aura is some set fire to all of the fiends. Stand on my eye, this is all seeing eye. We supply 93, that means we are supreme. Healing through tones on my senses, connecting in this year. Wealthy is health, this is green. This is illusion, reality veiled in delusion. Thoughts become intrusive, it's foolish to not know by now that it ain't what it seems. This is way more than belief, I see clearly the lies. My six senses of sight that are hypnotized, no wonder everyone sleeps. Open your eyes. It's time to set off the alarms, the performance self-harm. Don't you know you're a star, God in human form, and you rise with the beast. More than man, bread in my hand, that's the Lord in hand. Heard what I said, Lord, live in the man. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. We ain't the same man. Record keeper. Seeing the state of the planet, the damage, the famines expanding beyond your belief. I see they landed, they've handed the people a cannon and aiming it right at your feet. Blowing the hole where you're standing, creating the panic. The tactical planning is deep. Teaching you're only a man and that God is in heaven, the seventh outside of your reach. If you're the question, they'll call you a manic, frantic, erratic, depression, demonic. When you're teaching through the magical speech, they'll call you serpent, the one in the garden. Pardon my knowledge for having the knowledge and prowess to see. He really told the truth to Adam and Eve. You'll have distinction between good and evil if you eat of the fruit of the tree. Now you're a god, open your eye, cleansing yourself so that now you can see. They stole the stories and twisted them like it's a spliff. They put the fire to leaf, I put the fire to speech, I put the fire to heat. We don't do liars and thieves, they just desire to greed. This is my record to keep, this is my throne. You cannot sit in my seat, and I command it. I give more than 10 commandments. This is the law of attraction, and we have infinite stamina. My stage is where I'm standing. This is my eye, God is in me. I only keep goddesses with me. They are the magical beings, they are the holy ones, birthing the gods. We're overcoming the odds. We are the even and odd. They're in the odds, we're in the awe. Ancestors answer my prayers, forever grateful. I will forever say thank you. Inspiration to awake the sleepers. Record keeper, more than man. Bread in my hand, that's the Lord in hand. Heard what I said, Lord, live in the man. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. We ain't the same man. Record keeper, more than man. Bread in my hand, that's the Lord in hand. Heard what I said, Lord, live in the man. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. We ain't the same man. Record keeper.
May Ra grant you and your family health and prosperity. May your monument be established on the foundations of Ma'at, and may you rise and come forth as consciously, like the divine Ra, who rise and shine forevermore, Ma'at. Hotel.
I look outside in awe, I see our people double-minded. People meaning creature, don't ignore the signage. Voices lead, don't fly in silence. Observation with my eye open eyelid. Look outside in awe, I see our people double-minded. People meaning creature, don't ignore the signage. Voices lead, don't fly in silent. Observation with my eye open eyelid. I am him, king, crown, rings, Nesu, I am in mindset of when fighting jinns. Sword, swang, samurai, I am Shem. Suhor, son of Heheru, I am him. King, crown, rings, Nesu, I am in mindset of when fighting jinns. Sword, swang, samurai, I am Shem. Suhor, son of Heheru. Words powerful, Hekau. See, prove you can feel the roots. Gone, just look up, I am proof. Breaking doors down, make some room. But I is now speaking through Hotep Ma'at, Hotep Marie. Peace and love, everyone. Uncle Justin Neb. Oh, I see a Tef there in the background. Hotep, a Tef. Mic check.
Mic check, mic check.
Hotep, yes, we can hear you, great brother. Uncle Justin Neb. To everyone for being here, and to for sharing this for those of you who share this out to your social platforms. Send this to your friends and your family. It's a beautiful thing. Houseofaten.org. And with that, we shall begin with our affirmation. All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Anki en ma'at, un en es, nintet aset en ma'at, min hepapet en ma'at, her en hukui, per ikut. I live from ma'at, I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of ma'at. Every day I advance towards ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. All right, Hotep Ma'at. Tefrem Kim Ma'at, you there, great brother? You able to... oh, okay, I see his messages. So, yes, as the great brother Tef works on his technical side, I will just introduce myself. I am Patah Ani Aten Tahuti, also known as the Scribe. And today I'm going to be bringing forward another installment of language barriers within this scribal session, and bring forth some powerful information. So Tua, everyone, for being a part of what's taking place here. And we'll introduce the Jed Sejem Ma'a Hinti Pau Ku, the Sahi of the House of Aten, the great man of counsel, Hotep Hinu. To you, great brother, how you doing? Great to Jed.
Hotep, peace. Doing Akur. Feeling very well. Definitely excited for another scribal sessions. Dua to you, great brother. Appreciate the love. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Everybody who's watching, definitely grateful, man. Good for this day. Grateful for this day, and we just here with the Aoud, man. We doing good. Like I said, we just excited for another scribal sessions, man. Appreciate the steps you're giving us with the language barrier, and this is I'm definitely excited for that. Do it to you, great brother. How you feeling?
I am Akur, great brother Nefer. I am currently in an interesting process, and it's been a journey, through this clearing, and anytime one goes through any process of cleansing and pecking cool, and to remove the cool, you gotta find it, you gotta acknowledge it, you gotta be able to be aware of it, the ka'u, to be able to remove that, so that studying and practicing and implementing different techniques that I've studied and learned, and throughout the years, and things that are still coming to me today, and implementing those things. And it's very interesting what we are able to do. So I'm Akur. I'm doing very Nefer, and making great progress just in my own personal steps that I've set up for myself.
So, that's a beautiful thing. So to our great brother for asking, I'm doing Aker.
Yes, peace. Yeah, that's good, man. It's always good to hear. You're a great brother. I'm definitely. I love to know, man, when, especially when you got to put presentations together. It's good to know that that you're doing well in the process, right? Like you're doing good. And yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. I'm happy that I love the fact that it's no bad news, man. I love the fact that, I know we go through our obstacles, our challenges and things of that nature, but I love to hear, when you great brothers are doing well. We don't, the fellas, we don't speak on a lot of things. So it's good to hear, you know what I mean? It's good to hear that everybody pushing through, doing good. There go a Tep right there. He got the specs on.
Mic check. Can you hear me?
There you go. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Y'all can hear me? I can't get my sounds working. I can't get my picture, my background. I don't know what's going on.
Hotel, great brother.
Are we
You
live?
can just do it. Yes, of course we are live, great brother. If you go into your settings, you can change your background there as well if you're having trouble with the OBS.
Okay. Peace and love. Give me a few minutes, great brother.
Yeah, no problem. No problem, great brother. Absolutely. But yes, the Jet Tua for that, and yeah, through all of the all of the process of whatever. Well, let me start back from the front. One of the perspectives I always walk with is to find the most positive and optimistic outlook of any situation. So even in times of very much challenge and difficulties, it's still a great thing as well. And so all of that process that one has to go through to overcome and evolve beyond whatever limitation is there at that moment. All of that work definitely happens in the shadows, and from one week to another is so much can change, so much can happen. So yeah, it is absolutely a never thing that we know through this process, through this journey of evolution and growth. It's only going to bring challenges before you get to that point to where we stop sabotaging self from getting to the next whatever the next space is and the next level is. So that journey is always in full effect. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm very grateful and thankful for you great brothers, and for everyone who just walks the pathway of Ma'at, and doing just the necessary work. It's very interesting. It's always something new being brought forward and built upon, expounded upon, and greater techniques and practical things to use, right? And learning how to ask the right questions so you can receive the right answers. And that right there is a skill set in itself, and takes a lot of practice. And this is one of the reasons why I brought forward this topic and language barriers, because where I'm leading into, first I wanted, just to establish some of the matrix foundation, which was brought and led into the language that we speak today. So before I take us in a different direction, I needed to showcase just how much, and I'll continue to do so in this session, just how much the people who built and established this matrix studied the Medu Neter, and there's a purpose and there's a reason behind that, of course. And we know the power and the importance of the Medu Neter, but that right there in itself is a very deep topic, and what all it does on a subconscious level, in which we recognize is very much still heavily embedded within the tones that we speak today, and what's hidden underneath that veil, and why it's so effective. why does it work so well? So these the barrier of language that we have with each other starts with what we have with ourselves. So this session is very interesting. I'm looking forward to transitioning it into the next section after this 3-part series, and just giving a full, complete, detailed teaching on the Medu Neter, the words that we use today for it, where that came about, who was responsible for putting these terms on these words. So it's very important. So Tuan Hinu to you, great brother, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Sure. That's very Nefer, man. Dua to you. I'm excited, man. I'm excited, definitely.
All right, to our great brother. Tef, do you want to do a mic check before I go in? Peace and love, Basa Tut Maka Ox Effect. Hotep, great brother. One of our moderators here at the House of Aten. Tua for posting the support link, which is pinned to the top of the chat.
Mic check, mic check.
And it is also in the bio. So everyone, please utilize that support link that the great Basa Tut has pinned and posted to the top, and as well as hitting the like button and subscribe, and making sure that your notifications are set to all, so you get all of our notifications. So peace and love, Basa Tut, Maka Ox Effect. Nukpu, Hotep Hinu, great brother. Robert Williams, Hotep Ma'at to you. Peace and love. And the great Angela Gates, Hotep Sanet, peace and love. Yes, Hotep Atef Rem Kim Ma'at. I'm gonna do a mic check. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Tef, we know you're here with us.
Mic check.
Hotep.
Mic check. Hotep, can y'all hear me? Mic check.
Yes, we can hear you. I don't think that you can hear us, though. So that's what it seems like. So, Dejet, if you could type that to the Tef, because it seems like it's still where he can't hear us. So, yeah, let me go ahead and share the screen if you all are ready. If everyone is ready, we shall get started.
Yes, sir. It's on you.
All right. Okay. All right. So change this tone. Let's get the tone going and begin. Peace, MKD podcast. Hotep. Haven't seen you in a while, so good to see you in the chat. Peace to you. All right, so yes, welcome to Language Barriers Part 3. We are in the third installment of Language Barriers. My initial thought was to just do a 3-part, but it's actually going to continue. So I'm looking forward to that and bringing this session to you all as there's some very powerful teachings that you all should have and know when it comes to the language that we are studying, which is the Medu Neter, and the importance and power that it holds to not only empower yourselves and that which is immediately affecting you, right? But also to empower the ones around you by simply empowering self. So the study of the Medu is something that all of the Greek philosophers and teachers studied, right? And I literally showed Greeks teaching the Medu Neter, right? So as serious as they took it and they studied it, and language in itself, right? One of the reasons that makes the Medu Neter so powerful is because of its multifaceted ability to communicate a thought via tone and imagery, and then to take the image and create multiples out of one image. And that's the reason why everyone went to Kemet to learn from the scribes and how to begin to expand their own knowledge of language, right? And so in today's time, when we think of language, it's so minute to the totality of language in itself, right? And because even through certain studies, the actual verbal speaking is less than 15% of how we communicate, right? So if we put that into perspective and compare to our visual light spectrum, right, and the percentage of visible light that we're able to see and interpret through the extension of the brain that we call the eyes, the interpretation that we're able to see these colors, right, is such a small percentage of the actual light frequency. And the same thing takes place within our language and how we communicate with one another. And speaking is just a small portion of it. and we understood that at a high level, which is why the language is built the way that it's built, and why it was the foundation for magic, for Heka, for these spells, enchantments, tones, words, communication, verbally. So, as I bring forward the continuation of language barriers, I shall continue to keep bringing sources that you all most likely haven't seen before, and to bring forward some of the words of the people that were fundamentally, foundationally important to the establishing of the matrix. Right? So let us move forward, and I'll put together a quick little summary for you all. So may you all enjoy.
Language has always been one of the most powerful tools for shaping and controlling societies, guiding thought, influencing behavior, and setting boundaries on what is possible or impossible. Through Language Barriers Part 1 and 2, Ta'eni has demonstrated that throughout history, those in power have carefully manipulated language to maintain their authority. And nowhere is this clearer than with Medu Necha, known as Words of the Nature, the oldest and longest continually spoken language in the world. In ancient Egypt, Medu Necha was not just a method of communication. It was the very foundation of culture, law, spirituality, and government. And while the priests and scribes who mastered it could access and transmit critical knowledge, reinforcing systems of control and power, it was the foundation of Maat in the teachings of the Medu Necha that allowed this power dynamic to greatly evolve, raising the standards of knowledge and magic. Interestingly, while both the scripts we now call hieroglyphs and hieratic were referred to by the Egyptians as Medu Necha, our modern terms hieroglyph, hieratic, and demotic actually come from Greek origins, with sources like Herodotus in the 5th century BCE describing Egyptian society, and words like hiera wholly leading to the later use of hieroglyph and hierogram. This shows how outside perspectives and names have influenced our understanding, a point underscored by the Palermo stone, one of the earliest royal inscriptions preserving the deeds of kings and the structure of ancient society. It is the scribe who sets and maintains the standards. For example, in texts like Papyrus Anastasi, the scribe is described as a wise master, skilled in divine words, a leader and teacher, and a protector of the knowledge that shaped civilization. Even centuries later, Greek influencers like Clement of Alexandria would draw on these traditions, teaching that both faith and gnosis, spiritual insight, were essential, an idea that would eventually help shape Christian monasticism in Egypt. Altogether, this history reveals how language, writing, and the power to name have been central in controlling narratives and shaping societies. A matrix of meaning that, once understood, gives us insight into both the past and the present, laying the pathways for the future. Welcome to Language Barriers Part 3. Ankh Jed Usir.
All right, Hotep Ma'at. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that a quick few minute summary of the very first two sessions of language barriers. All right. So as I showcased the part of the matrix that everyone knows and recognizes today, especially hieroglyph and hieratic, being these two words to describe the Medu Neter, in which did not take place during the times of the scribes themselves. Right. So again, here is the hieroglyphs that we see over here. Let me I have a few tabs up, so let me make sure. There we go. Okay, here we are. So yes, here is the hieroglyphs and the hieratic and the demotic. All right. And as I showcased, by showing what's known as the P Anastasi 1, British Museum number EA 10247, the satirical letter of Hori of the scribe Heru. Right, and so within his writings here, as we see, we have one who is skilled in the words of the Neter, right? Himu u Medu Neter, meaning Kim, Kim, and F. One who is skilled in the words of the Medu Neter, right? And here is the section on the actual papyri itself, right? So this isn't just a random copy of or a random screenshot of just a Medu. This is the exact papyri that this is translated from, and the exact section of the sentence right here. Right, so I'll put it off for you all to see clearly, right, to see the transcription, but it's great to see the actual papyri with the ink here. And so here it is, Medu Neter. Medu Neter. So no hieroglyph, no hieratic. All right, it's Medu Neter to describe both. All right. So as I also showcased within the word for grammar, which is the laws of a language, right? The grammar, which literally comes from gram meaning letter, which in Old English actually meant staff. So gram was a staff, gram was a letter, right? So just as we see here in the Medu, the word Medu is the word for staff, and it's also the word for word. So we see how this gets translated into the English, right? Into the Latin, into the Old English, which is heavily, deeply embedded in magic within the Old English. So we see here that the name of the language, the Medu, the words of the Neter, is also the same word for staff, which is what one is to become, right? As Ptahhotep teaches within his elder status, right? So it's a beautiful thing, very powerful thing. So from the scribes themselves, it is just the Medu Neter. There is no hieratic, there is no hieroglyph. All right, so that that matrix has been broken, and it's important to know that, right? Because as the great Saba brought forward at a high level was, what did the ancestors say themselves, right? So that right there was one of the foundational teachings that I began to lead with once that question really allowed itself to embed itself into my mind, right? Because I've heard that before, but just like many things, our awareness only allows itself to receive a particular level, you know, when you're open to receive those things. So once I saw Saba teaching from the ancestors and living it, that definitely showed me the power of the Medu Neter, right? So it's a very powerful thing. So when we look at what the scribes said themselves, and then what the Greeks taught about what the scribes said, there's a lot of distinction and difference in between that, and it's important for us to be able to recognize that, because those who don't study or come to these sessions just do not know just how focused and intentional the strategy went into constructing a language built from the teachings of the Medu Neter to attain a particular hook over people. So with that, I showcased some of the earliest sources and some of the earliest people who started to import these words, right? And so Herodotus, 5th century BCE, right, who was given the title Father of Greek History by Roman Cicero, the Roman, what they call orator, Cicero, right, the father of Greek history. Right? And so what did Herodotus say? Right? What did he say regarding the Medu? So in the histories of Herodotus, and for more detail and to go more in depth just within this, you can go back to the previous language barrier, right? And so here, when we look at it, when we go down here to the bottom, we see here, the Greeks write and calculate from left to right. The Egyptians do the opposite. Yet they say that their way of writing is towards the right, and the Greek way towards the left. They employ two kinds of writing. One is called sacred and the other demotic. Right, so here, Herodotus in 5th century BCE, he is saying that there are two kinds of writing in the Medu. One's called sacred, which is this here, hori or hora in the Greek. And again, I went into depth on that in the previous language barriers class. So if you want more teachings on the hor or the heru, of course, creating the hero, but the hero created the hieroglyph and the hierogram. Hiero meaning sacred. You can refer back to the previous language barriers, and you can also refer to before I even started calling them sessions, when I did a class on the gods and how they're implemented within within movies, right? And I showcased the source of hero, right, which is all just from this hor or her, which means to be sacred. So the sacred gram and the sacred letters. And so I also then showed, after Herodotus, right, 5th century BCE, I went and I showed you all Diodorus Siculus, which is 1st century BCE, right? And in his writings, Bibliotheca Historica. And here, Diodorus speaks about the hieroglyphics being called the Ethiopian letters, right? Which is something that isn't stated today at all. But here, in between 60 and 30 BCE, we have Diodorus speaking about the Ethiopian letters called the hieroglyphics by the Egyptians. Right, and again, going into some of the teachings of it. It should be said so that we do not omit anything that is archaic. It happened that in their types, there were similar animals everywhere and on limbs of people, even on organs and even on tectonic ones. For grammar does not render the underlining word from the composition of the syllables, but from the emphasis of the transcribed and the transfer of a common memory. Right? So these scholars, these early scholars, were studying the Medu enough to begin to, for grammar, to begin to study that part of it, but also beyond it. Because what do they say about the grammar? It does not render, meaning literally to bring forward. It does not render the underlying word from the composition of the syllables, but from emphasis of the transcribed and the transfer of a common memory. For they write a hyena and a crocodile and a snake and those from the body of men, the eyes and hands and face of other such things. The word hyena, therefore, to them signifies all things that are bitter, for this life of birds is almost the most bitter. The word is transferred to the houses by metaphors to all the bitter things, and these houses are close to those mentioned. All right. So here he's getting into some of the metaphorical aspect of the Medu. So it's just important to see this and to know this, just to see what the Greeks, how they were looking at the language, right? These are the ones that everyone, the masses of people were looking up to, right? Everyone knows about these great philosophers, the Greek father of this and that, and all these very popular names. And again, I showed many sources of them saying directly, who they were learning from, and they even named some of the scribes by name. Right? So all of that just goes underneath the veil, right? And that's forgotten. Because if we truly understood the power and what went into the language, and just putting yourself into a mindset of being within the scribes of Ma'at and what they were learning, at that time, and how they were able to take that and then begin to create what today everyone studies, right? The philosophy, the Hermetica, all the Hermetics, that are a lot of powerful teachings in there. But there's a reason why, right? So just as much as these Greek historians, philosophers, teachers, scholars, they get all the praise for the sciences, the math, and everything that we have today. They said who they were learning from, and it's important to continuously keep bringing that to the forefront, because when we look around, most of everything that is established, right, was passed down, and we can lead it back to the Greeks. So there was something that was happening there for them to set a stage so early and put an energy in motion to where today we can speak a language that we call English and not know of any connection or ties to the Greek language at all, right? Without knowing anything about no language, you just speak in English. And so with that brings a lot of subconscious power over people, because you simply do not know the implications of the words that we speak, and not knowing where it roots to, where its intent is, all of those things. So again, this is language barriers. The barriers of language, of communication, is non-existent, simply because we don't even know how to communicate with the other parts of ourselves that are in more control of our body than just the small amount that we call the conscious mind, right? And so with understanding that there is so much of our consciousness that is that's underneath, that's Emin, Amun, is underneath something, is hidden. How does one begin to learn how to communicate with that? All right. And so the language barrier can start in many different ways, but the actual speaking is one thing. The body language is another thing. The facial expression is another thing. Your eyes is another thing, and it continues to keep going, right? So, as I showed, with Diodorus Siculus and with Herodotus, where this word hieroglyphic starts to come into play, right, in replace of the words of the netter. Right, it's a big difference between words of a netter and a sacred carving, right? Because the sacredness can be whoever is calling it that to be that, right? But words of the netter is very specific. So yes, this is what Diodorus Siculus calls the Ethiopian letters. And so for a third source, I showed you all the later source of hieroglyph, all right, is here in Plutarch's Moralia in Isis and Osiris, again dating to 2nd century CE. Their symbolism and occult teachings incorporated his doctrines in enigmas. Right, so just even with that, that right there, you see why would the doctrine be within an enigma or something that can be difficult to understand, right? So as a matter of fact, most of the Pythagorean precepts do not at all fall short of the writings that are called the hieroglyphs. The Pythagorean precepts do not at all fall short of the writings that are called the hieroglyphs, such, for example, and going into examples. For my part, I think also that their naming unity, Apollo, duality, Artemis, the hebdomad Athena, and the first cube, Poseidon, bears a resemblance to the statues and even to the sculptures and paintings with their shrines are embellished. For their king and lord Osiris, they portray by means of an eye and a scepter. All right, so here we have Plutarch. Now Plutarch, we have Diodorus Siculus going in and teaching on some Medu Neter to people receiving his writings, Herodotus, and now we have Plutarch. These are huge names, right? Teaching Medu Neter and telling you where Pythagoras got his precepts from. I mean, what name is bigger than Pythagoras, right? When it comes to the Greeks. And so as I continue to just bring source, right, after source after source, for you all to have at ease within conversation. Here is Clement of Alexandria. The Clement of Alexandria, another very important name, Greek, that was a heavy influence on the early Christians. As you see his image here. So usually when you see a Christian speaking on the Neter, it's always in some form of negative outlook. But as I showed through the early Christians did not move like how the Christians started to after the Council of Nicaea, and especially on into today, where with the heretical writings and the Gnostic writings. And so here Clement of Alexandria took the word Gnostic and wanted to apply it to the scholarly Christians. All right, so circa 200 CE, Clement of Alexandria, Stromata, Book 5, Chapter 4. But since they will believe neither in what is good, justly, nor in knowledge unto salvation, we ourselves reckon in what they claim as belonging to us. Because what? All things are God's. And especially since what is good proceeded from us to the Greeks. Let us handle those things that they are capable of hearing. let us handle those things that are capable of hearing. For intelligence and rectitude, this great crowd estimates not by truth, but by what they are delighted with. All right, so this is a early Christian forefather speaking directly on knowledge, right? Truth, intelligence, making sure that those who are hearing are capable of hearing. All right, the sacred word. Not really talking much like a Christian of today at all. All right. So as we see here, now those instructed among the Egyptians learned first of all that style of the Egyptian letters, which is called epistolographic, and second, hieratic, which the sacred scribes practice, and finally, and last of all, the hieroglyphic, of which one kind, by which is by the first elements is, okay, let me read this sentence again. Start back here. Hieratic, which the scribes practice, and finally, last of all, the hieroglyphic, of which one kind, which is by the first elements is literal, kyriologic, and the other symbolic. Of the symbolic one, kind speaks literally by imitation, and another writes as if it were figuratively, and another is quite allegorical, using certain enigmas. All right, so this is amazing stuff right here. For us to see these highly influential Greek people who play such a heavy role in establishing the matrix, right? Because it don't take a large mass of people, right? Just like today, it's not a large mass of people in controls of many of the major things that are taking place. It's a few, right? To get a larger group, you aim for the highest of the influential at the top, right? Because then it just trickles down. And of course, we always knew that, and so did the Greeks. So when Clement of Alexandria, the Christian forefather, is speaking about the Egyptian letters and naming them epistolographic, hieratic, and the hieroglyphic, and going into how it's literal, it's kyriologic, it's symbolic. Symbolic meaning there is imitation, there's figurative speech, there's allegorical speech, while using enigmas. So for a lot of people, when it comes to language, I've heard a lot of people say, that stuff is boring, right? The grammar and trying to learn. If we just look at what these people are saying, and this is just them with their own bias, right? Of whatever it is that they're pushing or perpetuating, on top of what they're learning from the scribes. So there's always depth when it comes to poetic language. This is why music is so powerful. Music is so powerful that you can listen to a song and not understand one word being said and enjoy the song, right? And I've spoken on this a few times, of the science that goes into song making. The artists that are at the that are being pushed to the masses of people uh, are not just making up something. there is a system in place of very knowledgeable and magical people who understand the effects of um, linguistic prowess mixed with tones and vibration. But just and as I taught in a few sessions, but especially in music in ancient Egypt, where I taught how you are a living and walking instrument, and that right there gets deep. So, with whatever level that we understand that we're a walking instrument, if that's your level, there's more behind it, and it continues to keep going, right? And it's when we keep that at the forefront of our mind, we don't stay stuck and complacent with whatever our level of understanding is on any particular topic, right? But I took everyone through how you are literally a walking instrument in the Medu Neter, in the Medu Neter, and how that's what we taught, embedded within the foundation of the language, right? And that's what I really showcase in a lot of these sessions, is the connectivity between the teachings just by looking at the language without a sentence being constructed. So by understanding that you are a walking instrument, and that each and every person is susceptible to vibration, when you learn how to tap into that, you then attain another level and layer to the matrix. All right. So when, as a poet, as someone who studies the linguistics, the linguistic side, but also the hidden side as well, and why these things work the way that they work. When studying the Medu Neter, I'm able to point out and see these things because of the studies and works that I've done as a poet, to be able to recognize metaphor and simile and allegory, and all of these powerful ways to communicate a thought, right? The level of language that the great followers of Ma'at had was so advanced. It was so advanced that, of course, we see how it influenced the world. We know the power of speech, right? When one can give a speech, you can do a lot, right? Change energy. One can be tired, wore out, and you got the right tone and energy to going into you. It can fill you back up as if you're refreshed, right? And so all of this, as a studier of language, a studier of words, always is first reflected within your speech that you speak to people and to yourself, and becoming aware of the words that you use, and not even just the words, like the sentence structure that we use whenever we speak about things. And as someone who has took the time to program out any words or tones of negation when it comes to the things that I want to bring forward, because it took a lot of conscious thought, because how we speak you say things that you don't really recognize that you're saying. If you was to walk around with a recording and just listen to yourself speak and play it back at the end of the night, you would be surprised by which how we choose to speak. So when I began to consciously program myself to remove negation out of my speech from the things that I am bringing forward, it then allowed me to become more sharp and aware of the words that other people are using, right? And that's the beautiful thing about healing. That's the beautiful thing about going internal and becoming more aware of yourself, because when you become more aware of it yourself, you then see it in other people, and it's a very magical and interesting effect that happens. All right, and it's one of the reasons why I know that whatever level that we're at any particular topic, there's always just an infinite amount of layers underneath that one that we can attain, right? Because I continuously expand my own knowledge of some of the topics I already know, right? Like, I know the power of language. I know the power of words, but my knowing deepened just even a few weeks ago. So it's just important to keep that in mind at the forefront at all times. All right. So as we go back through, and again, as I showed the hieratikos here from Clement of Alexandria. Hieratikos, the accusative singular feminine, wordless, priestly or sacerdotal. Priestly or sacerdotal. Thus, those who are educated among the Egyptians, first of all, learn the Egyptian method of letters, which is called epistolary. Second, the hieratic, which is called the hieroglyphic. And lastly, the hieroglyphic, which is literal by its first elements and symbolic. And the symbolic, which is literal by imitation, which is written in a metaphorical way, and which is allegorized by certain riddles. Right? What? What does that mean? Why would all that be set in place? Right? Why would that? What's the purpose? All right. So yes, back to Herodotus. Two kinds of writing. One is called sacred, the hero, and the demotic. All right. So I went through and I showed the Medu Neter. I showed the hieratic. I showed how both of those are is the Medu Neter. That's the script. Right. Medu Neter script. And so now let me take you into the demotic. Again, from Herodotus, they have two quite different kinds of writing, one of which is called sacred and the other common. The Demotica Grammata. Grammata, creating the gram, meaning letters, creating the grammar, the law of the language, grammar, which also then creates the magic, right? From grammata. and Dematica, other or common. So here is the etymology: of or belonging to the people, especially pertaining to the common people. Popular, vulgar. Latinized form of Greek demotikos, of or for the common people, in common use from demos, common people, originally district, from pi damo, division, from root da, to divide. Originally in English, it was used in reference to the simpler of two forms of ancient Egyptian writing, opposed to the hieratic or hieroglyphic. The broader sense is by 1831. Okay. So we have 1831 here. Demotic wasn't used for the name of that particular script until 1831. Used of the popular form of modern Greek since 1927. Right? So the Demotic is also modern Greek as well, which is why it's greater to just use the name of the language itself. Right? Because you can say, hey, you speak a right Demotic? What is that? Greek? You talking about the modern Greek today? Right, so it just means common. Anything that's of common, the Greeks would call demos or dematikos, for the common people. So here we are, dematikos. This is in Perseus. That I showcase for a lot of the sessions. Dematikos, of or for the people. And here is the D and Garamata in Egypt. So Dematikos, Garamata in Egypt, opposed to the hieroglyphs. And here's HDT, which means Herodotus. Of the populace, one of them, Latin Plebius, on the popular democratic side. All right, the democratic side. Let me now take you to one of the oldest surviving artifacts describing the name of the languages in both the Medu Neter and the Greek all together in one sentence on one artifact. Ooh. What artifact is that? Let me refresh my screen share because some of my images are. Let me just reset the screen share. To everyone, please hit the like button if you are just arriving, and the support links are pinned to the top. All right, let me pull this back up. Present. Enter full screen. Share screen. Language barriers. There we are. All right. So let me now take you to one of the oldest surviving artifacts describing the name of the languages in both the Medu Neter and the Greek together, all in one sentence on one artifact. All right. So the name of the languages of the Medu Neter, what people are calling the Demotic, and the Greek, And so here we have the stela known as the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone here. British Museum number EA24, the Rosetta Stone, part of gray and pink granodiorite stela bearing priestly decree concerning Ptolemy 5 in 3 blocks of text, hieroglyphic 14 lines, Demotic 32 lines, and Greek 54 lines. Production date 196 BC. You all can't see that, but it's 196 BCE. And again, anyone can just type in British Museum EA24. You can go directly to this, or you can just type in Rosetta Stone, British Museum. It's very easy to find, right? And so here we have this stone here where we see some writings that stop right here. That's one form of writings. And then we have another from here to here, right? Which is the Demotic. And then we have the Greek down here. All right, so a trilingual stela. Oh, there we go. Okay. And so here's a 3D rendering of this stone here. There we go. Clear it up so y'all can see clear. All right, here we are. So as you see, much damage to the stone. All right, this whole top part and some of the section here is broke off and down at the bottom. All right. But when we look here, you can then now begin to make out some of these letters, right? Very familiar to our own alphabet, which is derived from the Greek, which of course was then derived from what people know as the Phoenician, right? The Punic language, which comes directly from the Medu, right? So yeah, here's the Greek. See, it's cut off here, and then here's the Dematikos Grammata, that of which for the common people. So we see all that here, and now we get up to the top, and you can see the Medu. Right. So this trilingual stela, which was a pivotal artifact in the early construction of beginning to decipher the Medu. Right. And one of the most famous artifacts in general. So let me reshare again. All right. So let me zoom in for you all and begin to show you on this stela itself exactly what I am speaking of. Right. All right. There we go. All right, the Rosetta Stone. So here we are. This is what's on the Rosetta Stone. It's known as the Memphis Decree, the Decree of Memphis. And this one in particular was for Ptolemy V. All right, so what do I have here? What do I have on the screen for everyone to look at? Well, we see some Medu here, and we see some, looks like Greek here. All right, so you all know, as a scribe of the House of Aten, one thing that I do is when I showcase a sentence, just like I showed the Medu Neter in the scribe Heru's papyri, the Pianistesi 1 of the Medu Neter, and I bring to you the exact part of the papyri. I do the same thing here on the Rosetta Stone for you all. All right. So this is just some of the depth that I go into when looking at some of the studies, right? And even asking my own questions. Well, how did we begin to put together these different sources? And so I just start to do it myself, right? Line by line. So here's the Medu line, and here's the Greek line. All right, I didn't put the Demotic in here because I just wanted to focus on this here. And so what does this say here? Again, this starts over here and goes this way. So so the sentence, how you're going to read it is how it's chopped up. So you start with this one, then you go here. So decree this upon a stela of stone hard in the writing of the Medu Neter. Right. So here's the stele, the ahai, right here, stela, and then we have neti here, neti aat rut im sesh or sekau or an in Medu Neter. So decree this upon a stela of hard stone in the writings of the Medu Neter and of the writings, the sekau, of what? The Shai. Right? The Shai, which I showed in the last session to conclude the actual word for the Demotic. The Seshnis Shai. All right. So the writing of the books, the Shai, and of the Hau Nebui, which is the name of the Greek language in the Medu, Lords of the North, Nebui Haui. All right, so that's the Greek. So here on the actual Rosetta Stone, you have the name of the Medu Neter in both hieroglyph or hieratic, because again, there was no distinction, of the Medu Neter alongside the Demotic, alongside the name of the Greek in the Medu Neter, right? So we have the Medu Neter, we have the Sesh Shai, the writings of the books, and we have the Hau Nebui, which is the language of the Greeks, or the Sesh Uninen, which I've showed in a session. So the Lords of the North, the Hau Nebui, are the Greeks. Name of their language is Sesh Uninen as well. So here you are, a direct sentence showing the names of the languages, right? 200, 2nd century BCE, 196 BCE. This is the Medu Neter, And this is the Sesh Shai, and this is the Hau Nabui that you see on this stone here. Medu Neter, Sesh Shai, and Hau Nabui. Right? Not hieroglyph, hieratic at all. So and so here in the Greek, down here, I put the transliteration so you all can see in the Greek exact, right? The ancient Greek, and what's known as the Koine Greek, which is more more of a later Greek, and the translation. So, of hard stone, in holy, and what's that word for holy? Right here, keros. Again, this P in the Greek is really a R, which a capital R is just a P with an extra line on it. So you can see how these things start to form. But this is the heros, holy, and in native. So here's a Greek word being translated to native, right? This doesn't say the Dematikos. This doesn't say Demotic Grammatica, right? This is a Greek word for Egyptian. So it's saying, write this decree, right, on the Greek, because it wrote it in Medu Neter, wrote it in Sesh Shai, and wrote it in the Sesh Unin, or the Greek. Of hard stone, in holy, and in native, and in Greek letters. So and so when I showed Herodotus, when I showed Clement of Alexandria, when I showed Plutarch, when I showed these Greek peoples, right, and I gave the time period that I gave was the historical acceptance of the time period based on some of the other references that we have around. Not that the papyri, the writings itself, date back to those times. Like we don't have any writings directly from Herodotus dating back to 5th century BCE, right? But we have enough evidence to showcase that during those time periods, we were able to, calculate. And so none of the writings that actually exist in the Greek, date back to the times that they're actually sourced from. So when we're looking at this, again, what separates us from everyone else is our preservation and our artifacts. All right. So when we look at this is 196 BCE. And so in 196 BCE, on this stone, which was written by a scribe, right? Because on the decree, it speaks about in every temple, send the governor, right? The priest of the temple and the scribe, those three, to write this decree on a stela. So as the scribes are writing it, right? These are actual scribes writing these, and so the words being used by them, right, is the Egyptian, right, in holy, Heros, and the Egyptios, and the Greek as well. Right, so no Demotic, even in the Greek writing here on the stelae in 2nd century BCE. this word Demotic wasn't used. Native, meaning Egyptian. So let me now take you to the oldest surviving artifact presenting this same decree, but to Ptolemy III, right? Because the Rosetta Stone goes to Ptolemy V. And so I'm going to show you a decree that was written for Ptolemy III. And also the more important artifact to the early process of decipherment. All right, so everyone always and only speaks about the Rosetta Stone here, right, and the decipherment of the glyphs, in which people also say, well, look at it, it's all broken. Now, how was we able to, all this stuff right here that's missing, how are we able to know what that says to begin to decipher that? Right? So here's a recreation of what the stela would have looked like before it was damaged. Right? So yeah, all of this is missing, right? So I did this rendering where it's just lines. Right? But yeah, here we are. Here's the actual stone that we have, and a recreation of what it would look like in completion. All right, so how do we have that? Because there are many trilingual and bilingual artifacts, and not just stela decrees like this. There is a book that is it's still actually being written. There's a 3-volume series that's being written, but it's in actual works of this particular topic here of trilingual and bilingual artifacts, which people don't know exist. When it comes to, whether or not the language has been deciphered, there's so many artifacts. And I'm gonna show you one here, in which I showed this a long time ago, but I'm gonna bring it back here. So this is the trilingual stela of Canopus decree in honor of Ptolemy III. So here you get a great look of what's known as the Canopus decree of the Medu. Up at the top here, we have the Sesh Nishai, the native or the Egyptian, or what later was called Demotic here, and the Greek here. So as you see, this one's far more complete. All right, far more complete. So what does this stela say, right? In which is just another decree, right? To do many powerful things, but yeah, so let's read this. And the scribes of the temple of the Neterhet, and cut it on a stela, the utit, ut of stone or bronze, hemet, imkemet. So again, when I was, as they were given orders, right? It starts right, it goes before this, but when it speaks about the governor and the priest and the scribes of the temple, and to cut this decree on a stele of stone or bronze in the writings of the what? Has anyone seen the writings be titled the Seshnu Per Ankh, right? The writings of the House of Life. So in the Rosetta Stone, you see the Seshnu Medu Neter. In the Canopus Stone, you see the Seshnu Per Ankh. So the writings of the House of Life, right? If you want to learn more about the House of Life, go back to my Seshet class. The writing of the Shetet, right? The Shetet, the books, and the writing of the Ha-Nebu, the North Lords, and to make it stand in the hall of the people. So now we have a different name for the Medu Neter, right? Medu Neter, and we also have the writings of the Per Ankh, right? Which is the Medu Neter, the Medu Nefer. So writings of the Per Ankh, the Shetet, and the writings of the Ha-Nebu. Again, no demotic. No demotic. And as you see here in the Greek translation, and the governor who hath been appointed in each temple, and the high priest and the sacred scribes in each temple shall inscribe a copy of this decree upon a stela of stone or bronze, and the hieroglyphic characters, and the writings of the Per Ankh, and in Egyptian, right, the Sesh, or the Seshnu Shai, and the Greek characters, and shall set it up in the place where it will be most seen in the temples of the first and second and third class, so that the priests throughout the country may show that they hold in honor the good doing gods and their children, as is most right. All right. So again, this decree here, the Canopus decree, which is older than the Rosetta Stone. All right, as you see here, Ptolemy III, Euergetes I, circa 246 to 221 BCE. So 246 BCE, we have the writings of the Per Ankh, writings of the Shetet, and the writings of the Ha-Nebu. Right, the hieroglyphic characters and Egyptian and Greek characters. So we see that there's a distinction and a difference, right, from the people who are writing the artifacts themselves and some of the Greek philosophers later who begin to install this demotic word and hieratic word. All right. And so here's just a great example of comparison between the Medu Neter and the Seshnu Shai. As we see here. So you got up at the top the Medu, and you got here at the bottom the Sesh Shayet, the demotic, right? And comparing them word by word, putting them together word by word. Okay. Ankh. The hieroglyphic and demotic versions of lines 13FF as compared by H. Brugsch. So, this is from the book, The History of Herodotus by George Rawlinson, in 4 volumes, volume 2. And so this is a New English version edited with copious notes and appendices illustrating the history and geography of Herodotus from the most recent sources of information and embodying the chief results, historical and ethnographical, which have been obtained in the progress of cuneiform and hieroglyphical discovery. All right, so what's in here? These two kinds of writings, written, as he says, from right to left, evidently apply to the hieratic and demotic. For though the hieratic was derived from an abbreviated mode of writing hieroglyphics, it was a different character, as the demotic was distinct from the hieroglyphic and the hieratic. The same is stated by Diodorus, right, who says the children of the priests were taught two different kinds of writings, the Medu Neter and the Seshnu Shai. But the generality of the people learn only from their parents or relations what is required for the exercise of their peculiar professions, a few only being taught anything of literature, and those principally the better class of artificers. Herodotus and Diodorus consider the hieroglyphics merely monumental, but they were not confined to monuments, nor to sacred purposes, all right, which then takes away hieroglyph and hieratic, because what those words mean something. But as you say here, they were not confined to monuments nor to sacred purposes. So if a hieratic document isn't for sacred purposes, then it cannot be hieratic by definition, right? That's how confused in the matrix everyone is. And this is just me showing you very specific words on a very specific topic, but this can go in any direction. Choose a word, all right? Clemens Stramata, chapter 5, more correctly reckons three kinds of writings: the epistolographic, the hieratic, and the hieroglyphic, which was an ordinary written character like the other two, and originally the only one. He then divides the hieroglyphic into one, karyologic, directly expressed by the first letter or initial of the same of the hieroglyphic object, and two, symbolic, which was either directly expressed by imitation or written by tropes, or altogether allegorically by certain enigmas. As an example of the karyologic, he says they make a circle to represent the sun and a crescent for the moon, according to their direct form, right? The karyologic, the literal. And the tropical method, they substitute one thing for another, which has certain resemblance to it. It is therefore suited to express the praises of their kings and theological myths of the third or enigmatic. An example may be given to their representing the planets from their motion by serpents and the sun by a beetle, or more properly by a hawk. The scene of Clemens may thus be represented as Egyptian writing, which is epistolographic and hieroglyphic, right? Medu Neter and the Sesh Shai, the Seshnu Shai, and the Medu Neter. And so as you see here, it goes straight to the Seshnu Shai, the demotic, the epistolographic. It just sits right here on its own. All right. But the Medu Neter branches itself off, in which Clemens of Alexandria pointed out. Karyologic, phonetic by the initial letters, and symbolic. The symbolic goes into allegory, enigmatic, embiomatic, tropes, eniglyphic, direct imitation, representation of iconographic, and ideographic. All right, so the Medu branches itself in many different facets. All right, as we see. And if you all have not read the history of Herodotus, or at least picked up, there's 4 volumes. This is volume 2. And pick it up in which have been obtained in the progress of cuneiform and hieroglyphical discovery. All right, so it's a lot of information in here that's very useful. All right, so the imitative hieroglyphics. All right, so again, here's just another depiction of the Medu in the actual glyph form, the hieratic, right, and the demotic. As I have continuously showed, the Greeks, including the earliest Christians, not only studied the Medu Neter from a grammar perspective, but also what in the Medu Neter we call uha. The uha. What is uha? Uha, explanation or commentary of a text of a ritual. So the interpretation, the explanation, the commentary of a text, the commentary of a ritual, the ability to take writings and interpret them is uha. So what you all see me do on a consistent basis is uha. It's what the scribes call uha, and which also in the scribe Hori's writings, he also uses this word uha to represent the studies that he does into the scribes, the elder scribes as well. Right. So the Greeks, the earliest Christians did not just study the Bible like how it is today, right? They studied the Medu Neter, and not only just from a grammar perspective, but they also did interpretative study, right? And going into the poetical aspects of the language itself. So the tone and the imagery of it. So why is this important, right? Why is this important? Just to drill down, just to open up and really squeeze everything out of what I'm showcasing here. All right. Again, the Clement of Alexandria. Why is it so important to know what the Greeks were doing, what they were studying, and the depth that they went into it? Because of what it then created. All right. All then, in a word, who have spoken of divine things, both barbarians and Greeks, have veiled the first principles of things and delivered the truth in enigmas and symbols and allegories and metaphors and such like tropes. Such also are the oracles among the Greeks. And the Pythian Apollo is called Loxias, and the maxims of those among the Greeks called wise men in a few sayings indicate the unfolding of matter of considerable importance. Such certainly is that maxim, spare time, either because life is short and we ought not to expend this time in vain, or on the other hand, it bids you spare your personal expenses, so that though you live many years, necessaries may not fail you. Similarly, also the maxim, know yourself, shows many things. Both that you are mortal and that you were born a human being, and also that in comparison with other excellences of life, you are of no account because you say that you are rich or renowned, or on the other hand, that being rich or renowned, you are not honored on account of your advantages alone. And it says, know for what you were born and whose image you are, And what is your essence? And what is your creation? And what is your relation to God? And the like. And the Spirit says by Isaiah the prophet, I will give you treasures hidden, dark. Isaiah 45:3. Now wisdom, hard to hunt, is the treasures of God and unfailing riches. But those taught in theology by those prophets, the poets, philosophize much by way of a hidden sense. I mean Orpheus, Linus, Mucius, Homer, Hesiod, and those in the fashion wise. The persuasive style of poetry is for them a veil for the many. Dreams and signs are all more or less obscure to men, not from jealousy, for it were wrong to conceive of God as subject to passions, but in order that research, introducing to the understanding of enigmas, may haste to the discovery of truth. Thus, Sophocles, the tragic poet, somewhere says, all right, and I brought this forward in a previous session, the hidden gospel of Thomas, who is supposed to be Jesus' twin brother. Right, from the Nag Hammadi Library in English, the Coptic Gospel of Thomas was translated from the Greek. Fragments of this gospel in the original Greek version are extant in the Oxyrhynchus Papyri 1-654-655, which had been discovered and published at the beginning of this century, but were identified as parts as the Gospel of Thomas only after the discovery of the Coptic Nag Hammadi Library. The first of these Greek papyri contains sayings 26 through 30, 77, 31 through 33 in this order. The other two, the sayings 1 through 7, 36 through 40, respectively. At least one of these Greek fragments come from a manuscript that was written before 200 CE. Thus, the Greek version of the gospel was used in Egypt as early as the 2nd century CE. So the Greeks were using the Gospel of Thomas in 2nd century CE. And again, these papyri here are just as old as the papyri that they have for the Book of Mark. You know, all these books that they say are the canonical books of the Bible, right? When they look at these Nag Hammadi writings and the Gnostic Gospels, right? They'll try to remove them, right? Only because that's not the word of God, right? Those aren't the, that's heretical, which that gets very deep in. All of this are early Christian writings, right? As I showcased in this session, from Hekau to Egyptian magic. So go watch that session. And as I go into this, so just as Clement of Alexandria, again, is 2nd century CE, 2nd century CE, where he's writing all of this, you know, then is a word spoken, there are metaphors, there's the tropes, and the truth is hidden in enigma and symbols and allegory and metaphors, and 2nd century CE. And then here's the Coptic Gospel of Thomas, right? What does that say? Here's the Coptic and the transliteration. Of this kind, and these things were given to him in a mysterion, in a mystery, and immediately he disappeared out of his presence, outer, and he came up to his fellow disciples. He related to them the things the Savior spoke to him, Jesus the Christ. Amen. According to John, the secret things. These are the words hidden, which who lived spoke them, and he wrote them, Didymus Judas Thomas. And he said this, whoever falls onto the meaning of these words, he will not taste, not of death. Let not him stop. He who seeks as he seeks until he finds, and when he should find, he will be troubled as if he should be troubled. He will become king over the all. If they should speak to you, those who lead before yourselves, this, behold, this is the kingdom in the sky. The birds will first become before you of the sky. If they should speak to you, this she is in the sea, then the fish will become first before you. Rather, the kingdom, she is of your inner and she is of your outer. Correspondence. Right? So this was written the same time this was written. Right? Matthew 13:10 through 13. The disciples came to him and asked, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?" He replied, "Because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have in abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have, will be taken from them. This is why I speak to them in parables. Through seeing, they do not see, though hearing, they do not hear or understand." Right? Teaching of Ma'at, disguised as a teaching of Jesus in the Bible, right? Which actually came from Jehuti Didymos Thomas, right? Twin brother of Tehuti. So through seeing, though seeing, they do not see, though hearing, they do not hear or understand. Language barriers. In ancient Ma'at poetry, language was not just conscious communication, it was subconscious communication. Every element carried weight. Symbolism turned images into layered truths. Metaphor bridged the visible and the divine. Personification gave life to concepts like truth, time, and fate. Illusion, don't get that confused with illusion, with ILL. When you see me in the flesh, it's just illusion. My reference is direct, yet can seem illusion. When I say my reference is direct, yet can seem illusion, this is the word I'm actually using. Illusion summoned entire stories with a single name. Paronomasia, wordplay, and puns. Multiplied meaning through sound, while parallelism echoed and reinforced spiritual patterns. Contraposition held opposites in creative tension, life and death, light and darkness, order and chaos, mirroring the rhythm of the cosmos. Through iconic symbolism, even the script became visual poetry, where form amplified meaning, all of which could also have literal undertone or directly present. And at the heart of it all was Heka'u, the performative power of the word. Heka'u, the performative power of the word. Ma'at, poetry, didn't just express reality, it shaped it, summoned it, making it sacred. This is the magic of our language. We have now explored how ancient Ma'at poetry used language as a tool of symbolic, mythic, they call, and magical power, which directly went into the early Greek fathers and philosophers, influencing and shaping the second matrix. But this isn't just history. This is something that still shapes us today. In the next session, we'll dive deeper into how poetry and metaphor aren't just artistic choices, they're neurological tools. We'll look at why metaphor works so powerfully, how language subconsciously directs your perception, and how the words we use can actually influence our physiology, emotions, and sense of reality. In short, we'll explore how language just doesn't describe your world, it builds it from the inside out. This is Language Barriers, Part 3. Ankh Dejed Usir, Hotep Marie. Tua for your attention. Without your attention, this don't exist. Tua for your observation. Tua for everyone who supports the House of Aten and takes these sessions and allows it to begin to assimilate within your subconscious to begin to expand your own understanding of language, right? And how deep it is. And once we realize the depth that our ancestors went to put the teachings in a way that's digestible and that is also placed in a way to be understandable, such grandiose, enormous things as the netter on the planet, and being able to speak that in a way that can be understood. All right. And so when we started to create the language, the Medu Neter, so much conscious thought went into it for the purpose of being able to communicate at a high level through multiple layers and levels of awareness, depending on whatever level you are at. Heka'u. Dua for your time, dua for your attention. Uncle Jasaneb, Hotep Marie, Tua. And that concludes the Scribal Sessions number 21. Hotep Ma'at, Tua.
And yes, the Heka'u really works. And yes.
Yeah, we're here, and we're the best.
You're watching me, but you don't want to admit you're watching me. This is great. I know exactly who you are. But if you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness.
Some of y'all think I'm an alien, but I'm really human. Okay, I'm a person just like you guys are.
Hotep Marie. Hotep, great brothers, you there? Hotep to Dejed Sajem, you there, great brother?
Mic check, mic check. Hotep, can you hear me?
Can hear you nice and clear.
Okay, Hotep, great brother. 2 out for that. Number 21 already. I'm fighting with my laptop, trying to get it working right. I don't know. Let me see if I. Oh man, yeah, I'm traveling. Y'all know I'm traveling, but I'm here. So yeah, Scribe, man, that was phenomenal. I love the I don't know what to call it, a commercial or interlude, but that was great. The graphics was great, and I love how you breaking it down, brother. How you breaking down these barriers. I couldn't write to take my notes. I'm definitely gonna run it back for us, but yeah, this was great, bro. And I love that clip that you did yesterday in Saba's class too. For the pathways, that was fire too. But yeah, brother, keep up the great work. Language barriers. Am I really flashing like that? It really look. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're like a floating projection.
Wow. Yeah, brother, I can't believe it's we up to 21 already. But I love these scribal sessions, because you go into so much depth with breaking down the Ptolemy spells and showing everything everything that they stole and hid from us in plain sight. So to for that high level teaching again, super high level. And yeah, great brother, I just want to thank you for your consistency as well. I can't believe this is showing like this, man. Oh, this is wow. But yeah, too, great brother. I'm gonna end it with that. I'm gonna mess with this camera.
Okay. Yes, Nini great brother, to for your Medu as well. And yeah, it is a very powerful thing. And even with, a lot of the things that they hid, they also put a lot of it right there. The later we get, the more that they hide. But the closer, the earlier we get, they were pretty open about what they were doing. So there was a switch when the focus was taken off of the source, right? And so yeah, there's multiple time periods and layers and different subsets of different Greeks during the time period that were doing different things, and that's really what I've really enjoyed showcasing, because even for myself, I didn't recognize like how many different facets of Christianity in the early stages looked like, and what they were doing. So yeah, as the forefathers continued to pass down, and as it continued to keep going down, there was the next set of generations decided to say, we're holding this and we're going to use it. So there definitely was a switch for sure. But yeah, to our great brother for your Medu, and yeah, for appreciating these sessions, and the time and energy and depth that I go into just to walk myself through the truth, like what happened, where, especially when it comes to the language, because we're all communicating with each other. That's how we're able to do anything. We're not there's a point in time where when you have enough rapport with people, you don't have to really verbally communicate. When you have that rapport, you communicate in these different ways very effectively. And so with that being not a focus of today, right, building rapport with one another, the only way that we can communicate is through speaking. And so because of that, knowing how that directly creates the perception of the reality that we're experiencing, because we can only process something when we can assign a word to it, when we can name it. When we don't know how to name the thing, we don't know how to process it, in which I know I have in plenty of times where working to process something, and frustration comes because you're not able to process it, right? And by simply being able to assign a name, assign a word to it, does something psychologically to the brain that allows one to begin to make sense of it, right? It's one of the reasons why, if you have upesh, or you have outer body experiences, and you're traveling and you're in these different realms at a conscious level. As you begin to wake up here, right, a lot of the memory of it fades, and it's only because our ability to be able to process what's taking place, right? It's another reason why certain things don't just why you have to take baby steps, right? Because we have to stretch our processing ability. Because if you just throw something in there, like if for example, a computer, there's something called a CPU, a central processing unit, which is like allegorically the brain of a computer, and it's the thing that processes everything. So if your CPU can only process so much, if you try to run, you know, a 3D rendering software while editing a video, while having Photoshop up, while playing music in the back, everything is just going to crash. The central processing unit is not able to process all of the language that's being thrown at it, so it just crashes. So on a physiological level, the same thing works, because as new neurological connections are made, right, we can feel when we're learning something new. You can your body has sometimes that you get chills, and you have physical things that happen to you when you're learning something new, or when something mentally is taking place, right? Like when I put in my tone, brainstorm and make my eyes wet. When I said that, again, it's a triple, but the brainstorm, make my eyes wet, because it's a metaphor of the brain storming, bringing water down to the eyes. But the brainstorming is bringing up literal chills from being within a space of understanding deeper connections of things, right? By utilizing the brainstorming. And when you make a connection, right, it's like you get chills and your eyes start to water. And so, you know, within that bar, that's what I was speaking of. So, yeah, the depth that we're so far away from, and understanding, you know, what goes into our words, and how we speak to each other, how we speak to ourselves subconsciously. You know, until we can begin to become more aware of that, the building process is going to continue to finding challenges in spaces where we don't know what's happening. You know, it's it's the communication that we're having within our own selves. There's a barrier there, and I'm just determined to break those barriers that we have within our own selves that's stopping us from being able to build together, because at the out is inside. And so yeah, to our great brother, just for all that you do. And yeah, this is a powerful thing. So Hinu to you.
Hinu to you, great brother. Yeah, that was very, very nefer. I like what you said about how, you know, at first they wasn't hiding it, and then they began to change it after something switched. And like the later it is, that's where the lies begin to pop up at. But in the beginning, they was, you know, paying homage, giving Hinu. And that's just like when I think about like the older, what they call artwork, but the older artifacts are, it appears that they're more beautiful, that they're more intact, that they're more, the quality is. So what I'm saying is that the older, from my observation, the older the artifact is, almost the better it looks. As far as the artwork goes, like the oldest artifacts look the best. Like the oldest statues of our ancestors and the older artifacts, they just, they seem better because they're more pure. And then, like, as time gets closer to us later, as you would call it, that's when all the Isfet and the crazy come in. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like that picture in the back, the Jed right now, that statue, the monuments were colossal, phenomenal. And then even with the writings, and then as you say, like as it gets later and later, you could see some of the mistakes, and just the quality is it just changes. So yeah, 2 out for that, great brother.
Meaning up, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It's very interesting. That's a whole deep topic, and it's there's so much unanswered. People think it's just like, the Akus, like that's the mystery. Like when you want to go into some real deep mystery, yeah, go into the oldest artifacts and how they're far more advanced than the later ones, and how they actually started to mark out names and add themselves to it. So yeah, Tua. Great to Jets to Jim. You there, great brother?
He put in the chat he had to step away for a minute.
Oh, okay. All right. There we go. Like that. The origins of sneak learning. There we go. Yeah, Hotep to you. All right. I haven't checked the chat since I started, so let me come back here and Hotep Robert Williams, peace, great brother. No Picasso. Minty Hotep says the teachings are always relative to what's happening today. Absolutely. Hotep to you, Minty. Let's see. Robert Williams asks, what was that other stela with the translations after the Rosetta Stone? That is the Canopus Decree. Canopus Decree. Canopus Decree. And I'll even do you a solid. And put this in here for you. There's the link to the museum. And if you want to read the translations, if you go to E.A. Wallace Budge, books on Egypt and Chaldea. He has 33 books in that series, books on Egypt and Chaldea. There's 33 books there. And so everyone should get all of those books. Egyptian Magic, Easy Lessons, A History of Egypt, 8 volumes, the Books of the Kings of Egypt, the Egyptian Heaven and Hell, Volume 1, 2, and 3, the Books of the Opening of the Mouth, very powerful books. So the Decrees of Memphis and Canopus, Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. The Decrees of Memphis and Canopus, Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3 is where you will find the translations. Volume 1 and Volume 2 is the Rosetta Stone, and Volume 3 is the Canopus Decree. Great brother. So there you are. All right. Let's go back through
Two out for
chats.
that, great brother. I'm trying to get my sounds together. I don't know if my sounds work.
Any no, I don't hear any sounds. So yeah, it was a great question. Yeah, if anybody ever has any questions on the presentation, on the session itself, just on the session, definitely ask those. And let's see. Nefer, Netter, Nature, J, Hotep, great brother. Uncle Jasaneb to you. Peace to you. All right. All right. So let me check the support and make sure we give dua to all of you who support. All right.
Scribe, my sounds ain't working.
Oh, it's okay. Tua. Okay, here we go. Share screen. All right. Here we are from Eric Romney. Dua Hinu Hotep Ma'at Purim Aten 666. Dua to the great fix. Hush Nation. To our great brother. I don't think I saw you in the chat today. But Uncle Jasaneb, to you. Hope you are well and healthy. Ucha, great brother. Tua for your support and your great consistency that you show. All right. Next we have Basa Tut Maka Ox Effect for 615. I know you put 5 there, but it's 15. 25. Hotep Dua Pata Eni at 10 Tahuti 2072. Hotep to you, great brother, Uncle Jasaneb. Tua for all that you do, great brother. I hope you are doing well and strong, great brother. And we'd love to see you on the podcast panel if you're able to do that. I'm not sure if things changed as far as schedule for you, but Hotep to you, great brother. Tua, looking forward to seeing and speaking with you soon, great brother, and also at the Pathways this year. You and Raquel. Uncle Jasaneb. And next we have Robert E. Williams Jr. for Language Barriers Part 3, 2072. Dua to the great Robert E. Williams Jr. Great brother. Showed just never consistency. So Tua for always showing support and love, and Marie for the sessions and House of Aten and the Great Saba. So Uncle Jasaneb, the Jet U Seer to you. And next we have Nook Poo, who sends in 3 times. For Hotep, language communication is key to community. Ma'at. 3 for Hotep, Zakim, Sin Netter, Ani, Uncle Jasaneb. Dua, Mary Ma'at. Dua, Mary Ma'at. And 3 for Hotep, Natiru, Karu, Au, Sinu, Pau, Maru, Per, Im, Atin, Mau. Ma'at. Dua. Tua to the great Nukpu for your great support, great brother, and your consistency living in Ma'at. Uncle Jaseneb the Jed Usir to you. Great brother. And yeah, may you continue to be successful in all the things that you wish to bring forward. Hold tap. And we have one more support to show. I want to show this. So Tua to Fix, Basa Tut, Robert Williams, and Nukpu for supporting. And the great Gabriella, who sends in 555 for Sunday class. Dua Hinu to the great Gabriella. Tua for always supporting the sessions and appreciating what comes forward, and Dua for all that you do and all the great support that you provide to the House of Aten. Hotep. And so with that, let's put the main one on screen. See how fast I do this? There we go. So there's everyone. Uncle Jaseneb, Hotep Marie, everyone. Tua for your great support.
All I'm offering is the truth. All I'm offering is the truth.
Push the button. Come on. Push the button.
You see, that's how it's done.
Yeah, we're here, and we're the best.
Dua to the great Meru of the House of Aten. Hotep Tua to you all. Appreciate each of you very much. All right. So yes, Tua everyone, and yeah, it's we're about to the turn and the depth that I'm finna dive into and take us all through to continue with this language and showing just the actual walk from the Medu into the Greek, and of course the Greek which inspired Christianity and the religions of today, right? Islam and all of those things, and the early peoples and the attention that they paid in the Medu Neter that they were studying to know the depth of the poetry that goes into it to build the language. So of course they built that into their language, which is heavily embedded in the English. So we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna look into some areas that I'm very excited to bring forward to everyone. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So we'll continue to keep moving. Again, Pathways to Awakening, October of this year. Everyone make sure that you all are preparing for that. Do your Heka, make sure that you are there. You don't want to miss it. You definitely want to be there. Come meet the great Saba in person, the Aout, all of us, and we're gonna enjoy it. And I'll show the video as well here before we close out, so we can make sure to show this every time as we are approaching, and we want you all to be able to make it. Okay, so I have that uploaded. Should just be a couple minutes. But yeah, Hotep Tefrem Kim Ma'at. Where are you traveling? Where are you traveling to currently?
I'm like 3 hours from my house right now by car. So not too far, but you know, I'm not home. I'm actually sitting down using my laptop, but I don't know what's going on with my sounds. I don't know. I gotta clean it out because I travel with it so much. I don't know. Gotta figure it out, man. But yeah, I'm like 3 hours away with some family. Yeah, I'm gonna be traveling a little further. Not next week, the week after. But yeah, up here with the whole family, bro.
Well, Hotep to the Aout. Hotep to to your great Aout, and yeah, it's a powerful thing. So to for your travels.
To our great brother, Ini Uk. Yeah, this was a great class. I gotta run it back where I could watch it on a big screen because I like it. I like all the Greek things that you talk about, all their literature, Herodotus and all of those. Yeah, you know, I love that, bro. I love it because I'm unfamiliar. So the fact that I get to learn and I'm hearing new stuff and new terms and everything is very nefer. So Tua for this very in-depth class. I know it's not I know we're not closing out, but I gotta give my hand news.
Yeah, Tua, great brother. I know that. So you implement another language skill set that is subconsciously soothing, right? And that's rhyming words, right? And how we so even in your in a lot of the things that you say, that our want to create a sentence and make it rhyme is something that we subconsciously really like. So when we know that and begin to place a focus on that, it's heka, right? What's the heka? The heka is the hook, right? What's the hook used for? So it's up like a light pole. right. You got a pocket like a wallet, right? These similes, right? They just work right. They're very powerful, and you're definitely a master at words and putting words together, for sure. So and I know that's even without consciously thinking about doing it. So, all right, let me.
To our great brother.
Nini Uk. Okay, there we go.
Light the pathway.
Pathways
All my life I was looking for a sign.
to awakening.
Wasn't sure where to find a peace of mind.
House of Act.
Sometimes you can see things when it ain't time.
Pathways.
Well, for you I'll be putting it all aside.
To awakening. Open up your eyes, I see they dream and sleep. Knocking on the door, I'm for sure they're not hearing me. Open up your eye, let the light inside, stop fearing it. Please don't be surprised when we rise and appear in it. Traversing the boats of consciousness. Are you steering ship? Are you dedicated? Are you focused? Are you serious? Are you motivated? Is your inspiration clearly lit? Are you advantageous of opportunities hidden in the Saba to the pathways? We are past the last days. We do more than have faith. Put in action in place. Pathways to awakening. Travel to awaken me. Pathways to awakening. Travel to awaken me. Awakening.
Don't need to control the
Pathways
pain. So alive.
to awakening.
When I look at you, it seems
House of Act.
I can get so high.
Pathways to awakening. Are you awakened or are you staying asleep? Pathways.
join us for this year's Pathways to Awakening 2025. Tua to the Great Saba Tehuti.
And yes, the Hekau really works.
Oh, there he is. Popped up right on time. Hotep.
Hotep. Peace. Yo, that trailer was fire. I got right back right on time as soon as you started it. I was like, oh, what's this? I was like, okay, here we go.
To our great brother.
Yeah, that's fire, great brother. Can y'all hear me? Mic check. Why is it an echo?
You good? We can hear you. I don't hear no echo.
Y'all don't hear no? Okay.
Nope, sound good, great brother.
Hotep. Can y'all hear me?
Right. Yeah, we can hear you clear. So yeah, what's on your was you able to catch most of the session?
Yeah, I was able to. Tua to you, great brother. I love when Trails of the Bible is part of the presentation, man, because it's the most popular book in the world, man. Everybody is cool when you can bring that. You remember the red strings, little evidence lines? You know, they trying to find somebody, trying to put the dots to dots, man. I like how you give it that trail, man. You always connect the dots to that. Hey, with the Greeks, would they exist without Kemet? Will they be able to exist? I don't know, man. Every time the bus always stops there. Everyone gives homage to, I don't know how to say the names, Odysseus and all the Odysseus and everything like that, man. Hey, the bus always stopped there, man. As if you'd have thought they created the language itself. Just to read and write, and you would thought it all started right there. That's where the bus always stops, man. And I love that you can give a presentation, give a session on who really created, you know what I mean, the real language, real words, real putting things together. Everything has almost two meanings, or even more, right? Like Kemet, things one glyph, like 30 things, and it just makes me think, like, man, they had to come up with the phrase "a picture's worth 1,000 words," man. That had to start from there, because the glyphs, each symbol has so many different meanings to it, and I appreciate what you gave to us, man. Dua to you, honey. Dua to your when you get locked in, man. You in that zone, and you researching all of this. You studying this and putting it all together, and you must sleep very well, because all these things because you're holding all of this in the mind. I can only imagine what the Upesh is like, right? Because that's all from the subconscious, right? So you're being embedded into this. I can only imagine when you getting some rest, man, that's them Upeshas gotta be nefer, super nefer. Do out to you, great brother. Definitely appreciate your the depth and love that you have for the Paut. And Tua for sharing with us, great brother. I'll definitely make sure that I finish the rest of it, because you knew I would have to step away, but yeah, man. Do out to you, great brother. Definitely appreciate the energy and the motivation. That video, hey man, you and the Test, man, y'all getting real good with the AI images. I saw that in the presentation as well with the summary. You did with the summary. Hey, them images was fire. Especially you found the image you created an image of yourself in the Aku. That was fire right there. When I saw that, I was like, man, that's next. Hey, that's what we need right there. Those are kind of pictures I want in the background, right? Like playing behind me, stuff like that. That's the effort. Those images is fire. I don't know how long it took you to put that together to get the images to match you perfectly. And oh man, that was super nefer. But do out to you, great brother. Hotep Hinu.
Hotep Hinu. Do out for your Medu Nefer, great brother. As always, Uncle Justin Nep to you. And yeah, it's a beautiful journey, for sure. Interesting one. So, but yes, the works are working, and what we do, and making sure that we keep each other, updated with the different things, and of course, trying certain things. So, yeah, a lot of those were, just animations that I created from thumbnails of previous sessions, and just finding different ways to use them. It's like with it. But yeah, another level is unlocked. Unlocked another level. Every week we come back, is another level is unlocked. I figure something else out. So yeah, it's we're gonna have a lot of fun in creating a lot of powerful things, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to just all of us taking our Ebe and being able to filter it through these tools, and watch the Medu come to life, bring the ancestors back in a way that very magical. So yeah, two out to you, great brother, for all your great Medu and all the great consistency and support that you give in the different ways that you do. Two out for leading by example, great brother. Hotep.
Yeah, two out to you, great brother.
All right. And I posted, I sent the brothers a video. I do a lot of practice and experimentation and testing, and different things. So I sent the brothers a video in our messaging, which is hilarious. I want to show you all. I want to show you all too. See if I can pull that up real quick. Yeah, because it's funny.
Yeah, that's fire. I like that animation.
yeah, it's just. All right, let me see if I can. You all ready? I'm gonna play a video, and this is from the Pathways. So if you come to the Pathways this year, you never know what might happen. So this was in the Pathways, well, not last year, the year before. This was from the very first Pathways. This is some hidden footage that that no one has seen. So okay. So if you come to the Pathways this year, you never know what type of heckle might happen. You don't know what you might miss out on. So make sure that you're there. Sabo might just start randomly throwing fireballs. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very funny. It's very interesting, and yeah, there's a lot. I'm just experimenting with everything, trying everything, learning it all. What can I do? And just by learning the technical side of what can be done, now it opens up the doorway for creativity. Oh, I can do that. But it starts with just learning the techniques first. So yeah, the House of Aten is the leading, absolutely the leading organization when it comes to not only the teachings directly from the ancestors themselves, but also the creativity aspect as well. So say that with a lot of honor. So that was wonderful. Let's see, man, Saba did that, but it wasn't recorded. Yeah, no one saw that. That happened. All right. So yeah, to everyone for being here, and we'll let everyone get ready for the rest of the night. So Tua, and yeah, we'll begin our closeout. We'll begin our closeout now. So I'll start and just give dua to you all. Gabriella, Robert Williams, Basatut, Nukpu, Hush Nation, Tua, to you all for supporting this session this week. Appreciate you all greatly. And Tua to everyone who's with us live in the chat, and for those watching on the playback. Yeah, it's a very powerful thing that's happening, and so long as we continue to stay consistent and disciplined and communicate, and at least know that our level of communication is very low for ourselves. So if there's so keeping that in mind, even with the people directly around us, and really, doing the necessary work to dive deeper into language, right? Because it's not just the words you speak. It's not just what's the noun and the adverb, and you can get real technical with those things, and there are specific ways to put words in sequence to massage the ears in a way that makes your words more digestible. There's a science behind it for sure. But just even within our own abilities as ones who bring forward Heka, as manifesting the reality that we want to see and experience, then we have to dive into language. that's where it is. So if we want to really bring forward at a high level, we have to dive into the linguistics and how we speak to ourselves, and reprogramming. So tua to everyone who appreciates these sessions and takes them further outside of these lives and digs into the sources and the information that I show. So houseofaten.org, everyone go support there. Pathways to Awakening, October 2025. Everyone be there. And with that, I will conclude with the Medu. Sakim M. Arit, Marer Ka'a, Simu Hatu Natiru, Pert Ent Hotep. I obtain the power to do what pleases my Ka. May the hearts of the Natiru lead me. I come forth in offering. Hotep.
Hotep, peace. Dua to you. Again, great brother Patah. Definitely appreciate your consistency and dedication and love to the Natiru. It's always an honor to be up here with you great brothers. Shouts out to you, Watef. Hope everything's well with the Aout, and it's an honor to be up here with you brothers, man. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for everybody in the chat, man. All the love. Shouts out to our Saba Tahuti Amun Hotep Ra, him and his Aout. Yeah, definitely grateful, man, to be a part of the House of Aten. Dua to everybody's energy and love, and making this still exists, right? Like just putting everyone's energy, man. This is the reason why. This is the reason why it's so nefer, because no one else is doing this. So to everybody, definitely grateful. May Ra grant you and your family health and prosperity. May your mind be established on the foundations of Ma'at. And may you all rise and come forth as conscious light, like the divine Ra, who rises and shines before Ma'at. I am the Jed Sajim Ma'ahem Power Kuf, everybody in the Tiru, Uncle Justin Eb, Hotep Anu, Nefer Upesh.
Mic check. Hotep, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Ani, this was a great class. To our for your consistency, to all the supporters. Yeah, I love that nobody is doing it like this, Ani. I agree. Moving forward, brick by brick, getting better and better. To all the female supporters, all of the Turks, everyone that keeps this going. To the moderators, I see the great work that y'all doing. I love those videos, those clips. Amunet. And with that, we will end with our Nefer affirmation. And the scribes of the temple, and cut it on a stele of stone or bronze in the writing of the house of life, the writing of the books, the writing of the North Lords, and make to stand it in the hall of the people. Unki Ema'at, Un-Ns, Nintet or Set Ema'at, Men Hapapat Ema'at, Her Enhu Per Ikut. I live for Ma'at. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of Ma'at. Every day I advance towards Ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light.
to watch the police. Today I earned $1 million. Sitting in my temple, I consult with fathers. Building on our nation to protect our mothers. Have to reteach them what it means to love each other.
I look around and see symbols dancing. I look outside and see the hypnotist. I look inside and see the hidden hands. I open eyes and see matrix expanding.
Meditate on cleansing out the hatred. I'm only coming forth as being sacred. My body's in spaceships in motion, in slight waves, both cool and ablaze.
Cleanse before the fire lake, that's what it's for. Sins, burn them away. Pre-ads, to your him coming forth as the days see this light. Yeah, it comes from Ra.
Nah, they not ready yet. They're not ready. Just close out.
Yo, let's go.
My eyes, then I woke up back in my bed. I can see my room as clear as looking through a lens. See, I thought I was awake, so then I tried to move, but my body shocked me like I was plugged in a socket. I started panicking and scrambling within my mental. I thought I died and now my body, I'm forever locked in. I was screaming, help me, someone help me please. But there wasn't any sound making it through my teeth. I could see movement in motion, shadows gather around me. How could I close my eyes already closed? Eating alkaline at this time, fasting Rizzo shocking. I was stuck in a paralysis, Fred had me froze. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. I finally started waking up and coming back. I was in the opposite of states effect. That's relaxed, I grabbed my phone and started to do research. Knowledge of what happened, I was in a lack. Insidious, the movie came direct to mind. Every time I've seen this, it was connected to what's not divine. Demons crawling forcefully, holding the body down. Ain't no point in trying to scream, you will not make a sound. Deep within I knew I made that a reality. The all is mine, I saw it and so shall it be. I start replacing fear with knowing universe is mental. Talking to my subconscious to wake me up in dreams. Then one day my spirit guides came in so essential. Daylight's astral playing loud in my dream helped to set me free. I'm back in paralysis laying on my couch. But this time I was calm, ready to exit out. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. From what I read, I need to move my arms in front of me. See a rope and pull it, separate and then release. Now I'm out, I see my house is gleaming, I accept it. Looking in the mirror, staring at my car's reflection. I was so ecstatic, flying in every direction. This was months of subconscious reprogramming and redirection. Place my thoughts in my body, wake up, that's what I did. I was reborn from that day so I could start to live. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed.